Oh my, welcome back to the Bible Study Girl podcast. This is Sarita. You may know me as Bible Study Girl. And the first weird, echoey, trailing off vibrato you heard was the voice of the executive producer of this podcast, Bible Study Brother.
Hello, it is I, Bible Study Brother, but I'm also known as Icarus Gray over at Gray Area Anime. And this is the most wonderful podcast of your day. Gray matter is... I don't know where we are on this timeline, but it may or may not be out very soon.
No, it's out.
It's out. We're out. Album is out. I've done a whole show that I've placed, things on the shorts for or whatever. But yeah, man, go get that album. Run those numbers up. BSG is on it, guys. Whoop whoop.
You finished?
Yeah.
Are you quite done? Okay.
Oh, wow, guys, calm down. Jess was not done. Calm down.
Yes, he's finished and he's done. Let me tell you something. I'm not even gonna. I have went through a phase where I would roast him publicly, but I'm not gonna roast him anymore. I'm gonna be a mature. I almost said mature, and a mature professional. And I'll roast him privately. So, guys, so glad you decided to hop back on or to press play and listen to another podcast episode. We have been just moving along, tracking along. And today we are doing another blog recap. We are recapping the blog Play-Doh. So if you're new around these parts and this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you. I'm going to explain to you how our blog recap episodes go. First things first, head over to BibleStudyGirl.com so that you will be very much aware of the blog that we are discussing. You can tap the magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner that opens up the search bar. Type in the words Play-Doh, Playdoh. And then it'll pull the blog that we're discussing up so you guys will know exactly what we're talking about. So the first thing that happens on a blog recap episode, we try our best. We try to follow this format. It doesn't always work because we can get talky. But the first thing we do is Bible Study Brother breaks down. He gives you a general overview of what the blog is about, so you're not completely lost. And then he tells us his initial thoughts, his impressions, what he got from reading the blog. And then I try not to interrupt him and let him have his
almost
say.
Always a failure there.
And there's almost always a failure. And then I get to say how I felt at the time that the blog was published. And if my thoughts, feelings, emotions, experiences have changed since the blog was originally published. So it's always a great time over here. And I was going to say something else about the blog. Oh, so today's blog, Play-Doh, was published in November of 2019. That's almost 4 years ago. It's definitely 3.5 years ago. So, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'll probably say it on every episode, but each time I walk away from the podcast, coming to a new revelation or realization about where I am in my walk with Christ. And so I'm always excited when we have the opportunity to sit down and do blog recaps because we're walking back through my life, man. Why the applause?
We're just applauding you for walking back through your life.
Yeah. Sometimes it dredges up old things you don't want to think about, but it's been a positive experience for the most part, I can say. So I'm done at chitter chattering. Bible Study Brother, you can take it away and tell us what you thought about the blog Play-Doh.
All right, so quick synopsis so I can give y'all all of just my thoughts. So basically this blog is about my sister and her I'm not gonna say proclivity, that sounds weird, but she does costumes for the children's, and she has done so for a very long time. And she always has these red eyelash things or whatever that she would put with each one of her costumes. And the year of this blog post, she was Play-Doh. And you may be wondering, well, how can you do red eyelashes with Play-Doh? Well, she'd use the red Play-Doh, Duh. This is a joke that you will find in the blog post, but it was my favorite joke, so I had to throw
Was
it
it?
out there
But
for
I
guys.
feel like your delivery was womp
I
womp.
mean,
Go
I
ahead.
had to give it in the way I know you gave it because I know you didn't give
No,
it a good.
womp womp. Read it for yourself
Uh,
because that
uh,
was not it. But thank you, brother. I enjoyed your synopsis.
yeah. So, and then she just goes on to talk about the properties of Play-Doh and how we should be like Play-Doh, and there's a difference between fresh Play-Doh and old Play-Doh, and how all of these uses are different, but that you always must remind yourself to recharge your vessel through God and through connecting to the source and realizing that, as you have these different sources or have these different uses in your purpose, you need to return to the source to get reshaped and restructured, reformatted so you can continue on the road for your purpose. And that is the general synopsis of the blog post. And I'm going to tell you guys what I got from that. First and foremost, the picture is where I'm going to start, guys. I
Yeah, please
realized
start.
that there are, so in the picture, she's in her, she's dressed as Play-Doh. She has her Play-Doh shirt on and a little beanie for the top of the Play-Doh. You pop off like a little tin can. And my sister is just beyond joyous in this here picture. And
Were you there that night?
I don't believe so, because I'm like, there's no possible way that I would not have like been in a picture at this point, like closer and around.
I'll have to look while you're talking to see if you're in the pictures because you know what that picture is from.
No.
You must not have been there. I don't know why you weren't there. I'm sure you were invited because everybody was there, but you weren't. That's
I
wild.
don't believe that I was. And this was, I don't.
Like it was on Halloween. And Linda was there. Sweet
Oh,
baby.
no, we couldn't get out.
Okay.
We were doing something or other. Like I remember, or we were, no, we weren't out
Yeah,
of
y'all weren't
town,
there.
but
We
I
had a
know we weren't there.
we
There
had a
was
great
something
time.
else we were doing. I know that
Okay.
there was something else we were doing. And I immediately know when. It was funny is I immediately know when or not I was somewhere because I'm like, this face she making.
We were playing a game. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but do you remember the balloon game we used to play?
Yes.
Okay, we were playing the
Okay.
balloon game. Go ahead.
Okay. Ow. Um, so, listen. So we have a couple games within our family that I'll quickly talk about, which is the balloon game, which is simply like if you're a kid, you have played the balloon game at some point in your life, and you know exactly what we mean by the balloon game, which for those of you who didn't know, maybe you didn't have the funnest of childhoods, is where you hit a balloon up in the air and you can't let it touch the ground. That's it. It's kind of like lava or the floor is lava, but it's just like,
With a balloon.
with the
And
balloon.
let me tell you something. That game may be too immature for you, but let me tell you, our grown self have a fantastic time with the simplest things. Go ahead.
And the second game in that myriad of or same genre is
Freeze
RPS.
game?
Well, no, freeze game is just an addition, but
Okay.
RPS, aka rock paper
Rock,
scissors.
paper, scissors. Oh man. I have the best videos of our rock, paper, scissors tournament.
Listen,
One of my
so
favorite videos is from my birthday when we were at my house for my birthday and I won against Devin. The victory shout. I will put that video on YouTube. So you can head over to YouTube and check out the short of me winning
yeah,
rock, paper, scissors. I was
listen,
super pumped. I look crazy because I was at home. I was comfortable. But I'm gonna put it out there because it's hilarious.
but the reason I bring that up is because when they started RPS, I was also not there. And the reason I realized I wasn't there, and I found out much later, was because I'm just the champion. I have literal one loss on my record, and that is to the amazing genius that is Jade, Elise Wilson. She is the only person that beat me because I went and cleaned the house.
He did. So she had to redeem her whole household.
And this was after, like, this is an after, like, it's not like, this was another time. So I just swept like no one, like it didn't matter what was going on. It just could not be beat.
Okay. So back
So
focus. You talked about the picture. I look full
yeah,
of joy because I was having a great time.
you are.
I'm a kid.
You always have fun in costumes. It's like, and because she's so small and her face is, black don't crack unless it's mine. Um,
I'm not small, I'm short.
she's small. Um, and so whenever she puts these costumes on, she's gonna look like a slightly
Rookie.
larger ninth grader. Just a little bit.
Fun fact, this is nothing because you talk about how young I look. I
Mhm.
don't know if I've said this story publicly, but it was hilarious to me. So the last man I dated before he met mama, he was like, you know what? Let me see your driver's license because I want to be sure you haven't been lying to me. And I go in your mama's house and she like, yeah, no, she's just 19.
Wow, Jesus Christ, Lord our Father, help me. So anyway, so moving on to the other parts of what I got.
I didn't even
So
think of, I was like, that was okay. All
so
right, go
the
ahead.
biggest thing that I got from this blog post, so I don't like take up all of your time, even though you keep interrupting me. Oh my gosh.
I can't help it. I did say before we started that I would try my best not to interrupt you and let you just say your feelings and what you think. Okay, I'm
And then
quiet
she
now.
didn't at all. So but the biggest thing that I got from it is to be malleable. Is to understand where you need to be firm, understand where you need to be soft, but be the tool spiritually that you need to be. And remember that when you're in your home or when you're going back from doing whatever the Lord has asked you to do, go back into his container. Go back to him, recharge in him, reshape in him, ask him to refocus, reformat, to build you back up, to get you back to fresh out of the package. We die to self every day. We do more to become a new creature every day in leaning to his understanding and not our own. And that is such a hard thing to do because the flesh is not just easy to follow, it's deceptive because the flesh wants to be satiated. It's the flesh is like when you're on a diet, when you first start a diet, say you've been doing good all week, you've been doing great. What the flesh does is it starts by saying, hey, you've been doing good. You know, one donut ain't gonna mess you up. Then you had the one donut. And then it's like, look, man, don't you love you for who you are? And it doesn't like it's just gonna move the goalpost until you basically just are whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. And like, so the blog post just reminded me to be the shape I need to be for a task and then allow God to lead me to the next task where maybe I don't need to be as firm.
Right.
Maybe I don't need to be as, whatever. Maybe I need to come to the people as they are. And well, you're always doing that, but to do that, you do have to be malleable to whatever form you need to be. It's not just come as how I am wherever I need to go. It's okay, this is how God wants me to approach this. So that's what I got from Play-Doh.
Okay. I will tell you at the time that I wrote the blog, I probably was, I know for sure that I was in a state of wanting to be used by God and wanting to walk in purpose and not just what I thought or what felt good to me. I wanted to be moldable by him and I wanted really to be obedient and to follow his voice and do whatever, even if it was something that made me uncomfortable or I felt like I wasn't in the proper shape for. Case in point, writing a blog every day. I did not feel like I was in shape for that. I had not been training to write a blog every day. I had no intentions. Writing a blog every day was nowhere on my list of things that I felt like I needed to accomplish. So I felt confident that this is something that God wanted me to do. It's not something I came up with on my own. So at the time that I wrote the blog, I was very concerned about being who he wants me to be. And I could say today, I still have that concern. You know, I've shared it before, but my word for 2023 is obedience. I want to be obedient to God, and I want to do what he tells me to do when he tells me to do it. And this blog recap came right on time. In month 4 of the new year, and there are so many areas of my life I feel like maybe I'm putting up resistance, right? I feel like I'm putting up resistance to what God wants me to do because it's uncomfortable for me. And so this blog recap for me is just a reminder, Sarita, in all seasons, you have to just be in the Lord's hands and let him shape you in the way that he wants to shape you. Play-Doh played a major role in my life for many years. I worked with children as a pediatric speech language pathologist. I just put that pediatric in front of it because the girl on Love is Blind, for the past 2 seasons, they keep saying they're pediatric speech language pathologists. I mean, and that is a thing, but generally I'll just say I'm a speech language pathologist, but I threw the pediatric in front of it because we are talking about kids and I do work with children. So anyway, I'm back on.
And the shows that I don't watch have infested even this podcast.
I love Love is
I
Blind. So
know,
anyway,
as does the Cuzzo crew chat.
the Cuzzo
Shout out
crew
to the
chat
Cuzzo
goes up
crew.
for Love is
They
Blind.
go up for all of these shows. Y'all be like, Love is Blind, Love is Out the Dirt, Love is On an Island, Love is Slot Machines, Slot Machine Love.
We talk about it all. So anyway, what I was saying is, so I spent when I'm still a speech language pathologist. I have a different role, it's a non-clinical role. But when I was in direct care with children on a more regular basis, Play-Doh was a big part of my life because I could take a container of Play-Doh and I could address so many goals with my kids. I could do spatial concepts. We could count. We could do colors. I could shape it into whatever I needed it to be to address whatever deficit that kid had. It was lightweight, portable. Kids love Play-Doh. It's not threatening. And my caution every time, though, I would say, now, do we eat Play-Doh? And if you were not able to say to me, no, we don't eat Play-Doh, then we probably were not going to play with Play-Doh because I just needed you to be like, you had to let me know that you knew this is not going in our mouths. Even if Miss Sarita makes a hamburger out of this Play-Doh, are we going to eat this Play-Doh? No. Listen, when I say my Play-Doh skills are superb, they are superb. I could take a ball of Play-Doh and make families. I would make shapes. I would work on different facial expressions. How does he feel? Oh, he looks scared, or he looks sick, or he looks happy. Anyway, Play-Doh, very versatile. If you are working with children, it's a great thing to have in your bag of tricks to pull out.
My sister's something else, y'all.
But also be cautious because Play-Doh contains wheat, and if the kid has a wheat allergy, they cannot play with it. Those are all of my fun Play-Doh facts for the day. You're welcome.
Not you're welcome.
You're welcome. I need to know. So Play-Doh is it's adaptable, and I need that reminder in my life to be adaptable to who God made me to be. And I talk about in the blog, like new Play-Doh is cool but it's like so soft. It is so soft. I'm more of a fan of like the in-between Play-Doh, like before it gets old and not workable. I like it a little more firm. But it makes me think about Christians and our different walks with Christ. Quite often when we first come to Christ, we're very soft, we're very pliable, we are agreeable, we are all in. And even when we experience like revival in our relationship with Christ, we are more apt to say, whatever you want me to be, I'll be. But for me, the issue with the new Play-Doh is sometimes it won't hold its shape. You know what I'm saying? Like it is soft, but it just does not have enough. It's not enough in it to keep it, how you want it. So you have to work with it a little bit and to get it to have just a little bit of toughness. You don't want it too tough. But it made me think about my walk with Christ. Like I need to be at a point where he can use me however he wants me to be. And not be so stuck, not get so old, not get so dried out. Because I'm gonna tell you, the Play-Doh I don't like is the Play-Doh that's about ready to be thrown out, right? Like, I mean, you can manipulate it, you can move it. A lot of times though, it'll crack. And who wants cracked Play-Doh? Nobody. You go and try to make like a hamburger patty or something. If you have like one of those toys that you can use to cut out stuff, and it'll have the little details for the burger, like the sesame seeds and stuff. Well, if your Play-Doh is too old, when you go to use that, you won't get to see the fine details that have been placed in the mold because the Play-Doh is too old. And so these are all things that I think about when I think about
Okay,
being
I see your rapper skills. Go ahead.
what?
You rap without trying to rap. Go ahead.
And okay, let's put a pin in this. And so that just further it
It does
reiterates.
not.
It
It
does.
does not.
You
It
let me
does
finish my
not.
point now.
No,
It
no,
further
it does not.
reiterates
It
why I
does not.
needed my own song on this album that he freely advertises. He would not let me rap, y'all. He likes to hate on me and act like, listen, baby, there's a lyricist in me. Do you hear me?
Oh my gosh!
I'm a
Listen, man. No,
bars.
no.
Okay, but back to my
Matter of fact,
point.
no. Hold on, hold on, hold on. No,
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 no. Hold
I'm
on. I'm
gonna
gonna
go
let you
back to
finish
my
your
point
point.
about
No,
being
no.
moldable.
Here.
Okay.
Use low moldable. Here, I will let you on a song. If for the next 10 days, you got 10 days, son. 10 verses, 16 bars. I'm not gonna explain to you how to do it. You got to figure out how to do it. You give me 10 in 10 days, 10 16 bar verses, and I'll believe you. There you go.
Okay, am I gonna get my 10 blog posts that you promised me for
I
10
got into I got to
consecutive
the
days?
end of the year. I got into the end of the year, yo.
No, I'm
That
just
was my
asking.
thing. I got into the end of
That
the
number
year,
10
yo.
got a lot of power behind it.
It
And I
do,
feel
but I
like the
got into
Lord,
the end of the year.
I feel like the Lord placed it on your heart because he like, I gotta remind him of what I
Okay.
what he said out his
All
mouth.
right, cool. I'm on you. I'm on it.
Okay,
I
okay.
got into the end of the year, yo. I just gotta before. Well,
Okay,
I
okay.
got until
Well,
November. I say that I got until November.
okay. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna leave it alone and get back to my point.
Be malleable,
I don't
sis.
no, listen. I don't have to be on your album. I will just drop my own and it is what it is. Okay. Back to cause see, then he gonna get mad, people. I just want y'all to know that. Oh, you think you can do what I do? No, I think I can do what I can do though, bro. I think I can. Wiki, where is my beat? Don't worry about it. Listen, if anyone out there is listening and that's the only beat I can rap on.
Let's see what you got, yo. Stop all things. Be
No,
malleable.
no.
Be Play-Doh, sis.
I am malleable, and I need for you to be malleable as well, my
Let the
guy.
Play-Doh use you.
um, so I forgot what I was saying to you. You let the devil use you. What my point is, I was talking about the hamburger bun. Like when you get too stiff as Play-Doh, the fine details that need to come out, like the little sesame seeds on the hamburger bun, you won't be able to see because you're too old and crusty. And one of the important things to remember when you're
That
fooling
is a
with
funny
play,
description, yo. I just need you just rolled over that like it's just normal, but that's funny.
it's true. One of the important things that we need to remember though is that when you are playing with Play-Doh, for real, 100%, this is a real life applicable fact. And it is something that I always went behind my kids to check and make sure it was done correctly. You want to make sure that you close the Play-Doh container because if you leave it cracked, it is going to dry
If
out
you
your
leave it
Play-Doh.
cracked, it won't come back.
You leave it cracked, it won't come back. It's going to dry out your Play-Doh and you won't be able
And
to
just
use it.
like that.
And so I think that is a perfect analogy for our relationship with Christ. You have to remain in him. When you leave space for air to get in your relationship with him, you get dried out. You don't become as moldable. You allow outside elements in, and it'll dry out your effectiveness. I think the great thing, though, is that God is a restorer. We may experience seasons of being dried out. Like, I have been very honest with you. 2021, baby, I was dried out. That container wasn't cracked, it was wide open. But God has been restoring me through these years, these past couple of years, and really ministering to me and taking care of me and getting me in a position where I can be used. But it took me getting into his presence, being surrounded by him, and getting the outside factors out, and really just staying where God would have me to be, to get to a position where I was able to be used by him and for his glory. So I don't know, where would you say your relationship with Christ is right now, when as it relates to like Play-Doh? Are you easily pliable? Are you overly soft?
Since 2020,
Are
I've
you
been. Since 2020, yeah. I
since
wouldn't have said
2020?
so before in terms of, but being living here, um, like the fact that 2021 happened and I was still like, he asked me to move, so I'm moving. Like, he asked me to preach. You used the guide, the compass of my decisions at that point, and made her very serious, which was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? But like, well, actually, it's probably before then, and since I got married, I've been in a lot of different ways more malleable. Now, sometimes,
You get dried out,
well,
little edge to the dry.
I forget that God is leading those decisions, and then I make those decisions a fleshly decision, in the sense that it's like I try to then blame certain outcomes. And that's where I would like get outside of my container and not realize that these things were for the betterment.
Right.
Like, I know, when we talk about our big fight, I know what I was told, and then like immediately after, in the midst of all the turmoil in terms of our fight, like, you be wanting to fold on everything. Like, when life gets
You know,
hard, you be really wanting to fold.
let me say this real quick, because you saying that, I thought about you this morning. I actually was going to send you a message because you are part of this chronological reading plan, but I know you didn't read this morning because there's not a check by your face bubble. But right now,
Yo, the black, like, I thought you said you wasn't in the business of blasting me this episode.
I'm not blasting you. I'm like, I know you haven't read it this morning though, so you're gonna appreciate this. It is talking about Samson.
Oh.
And one of the things that it mentions in the Bible that I forgot about until I reread it today is that Samson wanted to make a decision that appeared to be against everything. It didn't make sense to his parents, right? To them, it was like, this is not what you need to do. And you talking about our big disagreement or whatever brought that
Mm-hmm.
back to mind. And you were just saying how you had to remain and do what God told you to do. And Samson had to do the same. So I felt like that was for me, that was like an aha moment, like a
It's
confirmation that
aha, but you know what's funny?
what
The funniest part about all of this, that's even more confirmation, is that's the first little sermon thing I did at Mount Pleasant.
was it?
It was
I don't
about
remember.
Samson. It was after we
Oh,
had
I
got
wasn't
back
there.
from seeing Samson.
Right.
And you were probably there, or I told y'all about it. No, I
No,
told
I
y'all
definitely
about it.
wasn't
I
there.
told y'all about it after,
Okay.
because it was when they had started asking me to do stuff, and I was like, well, it wasn't that big of a deal, so I just didn't say nothing. Then I got cussed out by mom. You're supposed to, and I was like, okay, well, I'll let you know the next time they ask me.
My mama didn't cuss him out.
Okay. Uh, so, but that's funny because like that was the first thing that I was explaining to kids that you have a choice in your life. You have a choice as to whether you're going to get the abundance of God by following what He asked you to do,
Right.
or God is just going to get His glory and you're the example.
Right.
Because I guarantee if I told you, like, okay, do you want to do what God asked you to do and there's an abundance, you'll have fulfillment. It's not to say you won't have hardships and things, but you at the end of the day, you'll know that He's with you. Or do you want to go do what you want to do? You might, lose a leg, lose your eyes, lose all your strength, like lose a lot of stuff and just have to like be beaten down in a certain sense into submission of reminding you who you need in your life. And not
Right.
by like God just leaving you, but these are your choices. You
Right. These are
know,
your choices. I love the story of Samson, and it is applicable to what we're talking about today. See, all this stuff fits together, threads together when I'm listening to God and I'm being obedient to Him. It threads together. I think Samson's story is just a great example of, I think about the promise that God had on his life from conception, telling his mom, this is who he is going to be. I'm raising him. Um, and at the end, his purpose was fulfilled, but he missed out on a lot of stuff.
a lot.
He missed out on a lot of stuff because of his choices. A lot.
I guarantee you, if I told you, like, okay, so for you, this party or whatever it is you go into is harmless. Like how you feel about it is harmless. Or going to this or premarital sex or whatever it is that the world tells you just should be normal. Like you got to do all this stuff before you get married because there's no satisfaction. You're just going to be bored and plain and you like all of this stuff that they tell you. But what you lose, like how many people have relationships or don't have relationships with their kids or, you went to this party got shot up. Like so many different things happen within the constructs of different things. So maybe your parents had troubles with like addiction, like an alcohol addiction or something like that. You wanted to be like everybody else. You go to this party, you drink, and you weren't thinking about that. Like, oh, this is in me too, and now you battling alcoholism.
Right.
And so I say all that not to as a condemnation or not as a judgment, but as a call to be mindful that the people in the Bible went through a lot of the things that we go through now, just in a what you would consider a simplified version, because it was,
Well, baby,
some
Samson's life wasn't simplified, because
uh,
it was not simplified. But for me, the thing is, his purpose was fulfilled in the end, but he lost so much, and he probably could have had a lot more if he had been obedient and listened to what God had to say, if he had been more malleable. So my prayer for anyone that's listening to this podcast is that you do what God asked you to do. He's extending an invitation. He wants you to be involved in his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. He's opening it up for you. He's giving you that opportunity and that choice. And my prayer for you and for me personally, like I need these blog recaps and these conversations with my brother. Be obedient, Sarita, in season, out of season, when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it. Your purpose will be fulfilled, but man, you might end up losing and missing out on a lot of things and going through hardships you did not have to go through. Be malleable, people. Let the Lord mold you. That's all I got, bro.
I like that. And I just want to get into this and tell you guys that if you liked any of this conversation, there's more without us, without me blabbing and doing all this stuff that you may didn't come here for over at BibleStudyGirl.com, where there are blog posts every day. You can hit us up on the socials on Twitter at Bible Study Girl, the number 2, on Instagram at _ Bible Study Girl, Facebook, Bible Study Girl. Make sure you follow. You'll get updates not only on the videos, but also on the blog posts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are going to try and mention that earlier. We be forgetting, but the YouTube channel is going to come along nicely because the devil ain't going to defeat me. It's just, he's already lost, and I just have to claim the victory. So go there, hit us up. We trying to get to 100 subscribers so that way we can get the Bible Study Girl slug. So that way it's a little bit easier for us to get you to the YouTube channel. We're gonna be doing a whole lot of different things with the channel, and I'm very, very excited. And remember, it's not wallowing in your sin that preaches, but we preach.
And until we meet again, guys, keep preaching.